Good evening and welcome to tonight's news bulletin, brought to you live from this news center of the Sultanate of Oman television. But first, the headlines. Assigned by His Majesty Sultan, His Excellency, the Minister of State and Governor of Muscat preside over the final match of His Majesty's Cup Football Championship 2020-2021. The Minister of Health affirms that new batches of COVID-19 vaccines will arrive in the Sultanate by the mid of this month. And 8 deaths and over 1,059 new confirmed cases of COVID-19 are registered in the Sultanate during the last 3 days. Thank you for joining us. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. Assigned by His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq, His Excellency Sayyid Saud bin Hilal bin Hamad Al Busaidi, Minister of State and Governor of Muscat, presides over this evening the final of His Majesty's Cup Football Championship 2020-2021, which brings together the Far Club with Suwait Club at Sultan Qaboos Sports Complex at Bosher, with the presence of His Highness Sayyid the Yazin bin Haytham bin Tariq Al Saeed, Minister of Culture, Sports and Youth. Here are live pictures from Sultan Qaboos Sports Complex at Bosher, where they've just begun the match.
بينما السويق طبعا بدأ المشوار من دور ال 32 تجاوز البشائر اولا، ثم صحار في دور ال 16 بهدفين مقابل هدف. في دور الثمانية المهمة ما كانت سهلة ابدا حقيقة، ذهابا خسر من عبري بهدف وفي الإياب.
His Excellency Dr. Ahmed bin Mohammed Al Saeed, Minister of Health, revealed in an interview to Oman News Agency that the first batch of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, amounting to 200,000 doses, will arrive in the Sultanate. His Excellency confirmed that communication is underway in order to obtain other vaccines expected to arrive before the end of the current month. The Minister of Health expressed his deep regret for the reluctance of some people to be vaccinated with the vaccine Oxford AstraZeneca, stressing that the Sultanate will not use any vaccines or medicines unless after making sure of its safety. His Excellency called on citizens, residents and health sector workers to demand vaccination and the availability of vaccines, indicating that the Sultanate and the countries of the world have not recorded any serious side effects mentioned so far. His Excellency Minister of Health said that the biggest barrier to getting vaccines is not the financial situation, but rather the delay of the companies producing vaccines, as the Sultanate received until now about 180,000 doses. 80,000 of them are Pfizer-BioNTech and 100,000 doses of Oxford AstraZeneca vaccines. The Minister of Health announced that the total number of COVID-19 cases registered in the Sultanate reached 143,955, while the total number of deaths reached 1,591. The total recovered cases reached 134,314, which is 93.3% of the total recovery rate. The ministry indicated that the total number of inpatients reached 217, among which 77 are intensive care units available. The COVID-19 fatalities worldwide reached more than 2.5 million. On the other hand, the World Health Organization warns of the possibility of the new waves of the pandemic as the number of COVID-19 cases increased worldwide. Meanwhile, the main reason behind the spread of the virus is due to some individuals not adhering to the precautionary measures. The virus caused so much damage as the health cadres struggled to treat the patients. On the domestic level, the Supreme Committee dealing with COVID-19 developments decided to close the commercial activities starting last Thursday, with hopes to limit the spread of the virus and to keep the members of the community safe. It's worth mentioning that all shall take responsibility and strictly adhere to the precautionary measures to protect themselves and the society from further COVID-19 cases. Now, COVID-19 can travel quickly through a community and make a lot of people sick. However, when enough people are vaccinated against it, it assists in providing immunity to them, and the entire community is less likely to get the disease. Hence, a call is made for those eligible to get their vaccine, and those who have received and due to receive are here conveying their messages.
We are thanking the government for providing us of two types of the vaccines which are available now in Oman. I would like to encourage all people who are in the eligible criteria to go forward and take the vaccine, which is available in many health centers. So whoever reached 60 years, please go forward and take the vaccine. Whether you are having any diseases or not, you are eligible to get the vaccine. Apart from that, whoever is above 18 years old, having any type of lung disease, chronic lung disease, or doing the dialysis, they have also to go and get the vaccine. I want to reassure everybody the vaccines are very safe, had no side effects so far. I had the vaccine myself and I had no problems. So please, we want you all to have a safe and healthy life, and we want you all to get the benefit of these vaccines.
I've just taken the first dose of vaccination for COVID-19. It is our duty to take this vaccine on time and follow the regulatory body, because we have elderly at home. I myself have an elderly at home that I could transmit the disease without me knowing. So to protect myself and her, we need to do that on time.
I would like just to give you my experience of really taking the vaccine. I thought that the vaccination is to be taken by myself, is the main part to protect myself, my family, and the community. I found the vaccination is really essential for all of us to be really taken, and to encourage all of us who was around for that. Just to tell you my experience, I have taken it, and to really frankly tell you, I had no side effect at all from it. And for your information, all the vaccine which is in the market, it's there to be encouraged, regardless of the brand which is right now available. Vaccination is meant for the protection of human being.
COVID-19 vaccine is important for everyone. I am waiting for my turn to take it, to protect my family, myself, and the whole community. If your turn has come, please go and take it, for all to be safe and healthy, inshallah.
Nowadays, COVID-19 patients are increasing very much. Now I am going to take my vaccine for my family, myself, and for the world. So if you get the chance, you definitely take the COVID-19 vaccine for the nation, for the world, and for yourself also.
Yeah, so for me and my wife, it's life-changing. After lockdown for a year, we finally have the opportunity to get out, so we're very thankful, very grateful.
The vaccine is perfect. Please, everybody, take the vaccine so we can get back to a normal life for everyone.
Indeed, the vaccine is available, and people who are eligible should get there to get their vaccine. Let's all of us follow precautionary measures to stay safe and healthy. The Shura Council office confirmed the importance of accelerating the implementation of settlement programs for solving the issue of transferring teachers from distance areas after receiving or reviewing the report of Education and Scientific Research Committee in the Council. The meeting discussed also the importance of briefing requests on the projects of Khazain Economic City and Liwa Plastic Industries Complex, in addition to the Omanization Percentage at Family Companies Agreement of partnership with one of the international companies to manage Salalah Port, and reasons of delaying projects at Al Duqm Zone. The office allowed an inquiry on new procedures, followed by the Minister of Housing and Urban Planning for actions occurring on governmental lands and real estate. The meeting was chaired by His Excellency Khalid bin Hilal Al Ma'uli, Chairman of the Shura Council. His Excellency Dr. Ahmed bin Mohammed Al-Saidi, Minister of Health, said that Oman faces a growing rise in the burden of obesity among its population. More than half of the Omani population are now overweight or obese, with 30% of the population having BMI of more than 30. He gave this statement while launching obesity booklet.
I'm delighted to launch the Obesity in Oman booklet today, which is a public health challenge. Many organizations recognize obesity as a disease now. Worldwide, there is more than 650 million people suffering from obesity. The sad thing, 120 million of them are children. In Oman, unfortunately, the survey we did in 2017 showed that more than 50% of the population in Oman either overweight or obese. As I said, obesity is a disease itself, but it's also the main contributing factor to chronic diseases, mainly diabetes. 95% of type 2 diabetic patients are obese, but also cancer and heart disease, which are killer number one in Oman and worldwide. There are many causes for this disease, obesity. Some of them are preventable and easily preventable. And if we avoid eating unhealthy food, if we increase our physical activities, we can combat obesity together. This issue is not a challenge for the healthcare sector only. It should be multisectoral. It should also start from the families. More than 4% of children in Oman, less than 5 years old, are unfortunately obese. These will grow up to be obese adults if we don't manage to reduce their obesity at this age. We need to work together to prevent this very expensive disease which causes death and, of course, the financial and economic cost to the countries worldwide.
The Minister of Commerce, Industry and Investments Promotion issued a decision to amend some provisions of the regulation organizing the registrations of trade names within the framework of the facilities it provides to investors.
A number of improvements and new e-services have been added to the Invest Easy portal, according to the Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Investment Promotion. The new services aim to facilitate the process of amending trade names by the investor themselves without a visit to the premises of the ministry, and any suspension on the commercial registry could be lifted in order to amend the concerned trade name. The ministry also issued a decision to approve the golf technical regulations for children's toys. The first article stipulated the approval of the golf technical regulation for children's toys number BD 131,704-01 regarding the basic requirements that must be met in children's toys before placing them on the market, as a binding technical regulation in the Sultanate. The second article stipulates the imposition of an administrative fine not exceeding 300 Omani Riyals on anyone who violates the provisions of this decision, and the fine is doubled on the event of a recurrence of the violation. The third article stated that this decision shall be enforced after 6 months from the date of its publication in the Official Gazette.
The Free Zone in Al Mazuna signed 6 new investments contracts in January 2021. The volume of goods in the zone at the same month reached about 35,500 tons, in addition to access of more than 900 vehicles. Madain works on implementing a number of projects in the zone, such as completing service and facilities building, which will be completed in the middle of coming year. You're watching the Sultanate of Oman television, and yet to come in our news bulletin. Startup company in the Netherlands invented a system to protect valuable greenhouse crops from moths. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. Irish Minister of Foreign Affairs Simon Coveney met his Iranian counterpart in Tehran today. The Republic of Ireland has the role of facilitator in the implementation of the 2015 nuclear deal between Iran and world powers. Former U.S. President Donald Trump in 2018 unilaterally withdrew the U.S. from the Iranian nuclear accord, in which Tehran had agreed to limit its uranium enrichment in exchange for the lifting of economic sanctions. When the U.S. then reimposed some sanctions and added others, Iran gradually and publicly abandoned the deal's limit on its nuclear developments. During a meeting with President Hassan Rouhani, Kavani said that the withdrawal by Trump was a mistake and noted that the new U.S. administration is determined to return to the deal. Large crowds gathered to catch a glimpse of Pope Francis on the last day of the first ever papal visit to Iraq. Well-wishers were seen dancing and singing at Hosh al-Bia Church Square in Mosul after the pontiff prayed for the country's war dead amid the ruins of 4 demolished churches in Mosul, which suffered widespread destructions in the war against the Daesh group. Later, crowds lined streets from Mosul to Erbil, waiting for the pontiff's motorcade to travel past on its way to a stadium where the Pope was scheduled to hold Mass later in the day. He is wrapping up the day with the Mass in Erbil, which is located in the semi-autonomous northern Kurdish region, and is expected to draw as many as 10,000 people for the event. Family members of the crew and passengers of missing Malaysian Airlines flight MH370 got together virtually today to commemorate the 7th anniversary of the flight's disappearance. The group Voice 370 reiterated its demands that the search continue and that all military radar data from the day to release for independent investigation. MH370 vanished with 239 people on board on March 8, 2014, while flying from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. A joint effort by Australia, China and Malaysia was called off in January 2017 after 2 years of underwater searching in the southern Indian Ocean, the largest search in aviation history. Another exploration effort led by U.S. Ocean Infinity also failed in May 2018. A Malaysian-led independent investigation report released in July 2018 showed lapses in the government's response and raised the possibility of intervention by a third party. Investigators, however, said the cause of the disappearance cannot be determined until the wreckage and the plane's black boxes are found. Lockdown restrictions in Auckland were eased on today after no new COVID-19 cases were reported in the community for 5 consecutive days. New Zealand's largest city is now under alert level 2, which means that its residents are able to visit to restaurants and cafes, but 1 meter social distancing is required. Social gatherings are also limited to 100 people. The rest of New Zealand was lowered to alert level 1 from today. Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern's government will assess whether Auckland level can be lowered further at the end of the next week. Auckland had gone 6 months without a lockdown before 15 community cases of the more transmissible variant first found in Britain were discovered in February, prompting an initially 3-day lockdown followed later by the week-long lockdown. A Dutch startup is using drones to kill moths in mid-air as a way of protecting valuable greenhouse crops. When cameras detected a moth, a drone is sent on a collision course, destroying the bag with its rotors. More details in the following report.
Dutch grass grower Robban has enlisted high-tech helpers to tackle a pest in his greenhouses, palm-sized drones that seek and destroy moths that produce caterpillars which can chew up his crops.
I can't use chemicals. I supply restaurants. I have unique products where you don't get certification to spray chemicals, and I don't want it.
Ban's company, Cuthbert Cress, exports aromatic seedlings, plants and flowers to high-end restaurants around the world. A keen adopter of innovative technology in his greenhouses, Ban turned to Pat's Indoor Drone Solutions, a startup that's developing autonomous drone systems as greenhouse sentinels to add another layer of protection for his plants. The drones themselves are basic, but they are steered by smart technology, aided by special cameras that scan the greenhouse airspace. The drones instantly kill the moths by flying into them, destroying them in mid-air.
It sees a moth flying by, it knows where the drone is because it's there, and then it just directs the drone towards the moth. And it has to do that in a super fast fashion.
The company has released video shot in a controlled environment that shows how one of the bugs is instantly pulverized by a rotor on one of its drones. The drones form part of an array of pest control systems in Ban's greenhouses that also includes other bugs, pheromone traps, and bumblebees. Ban says the drone control system is smart enough to distinguish between good and bad critters.
They know which one to kill because some of them are beneficial. You don't want to kill them. I mean, you don't want to kill a ladybird because ladybird is very helpful against aphids. So they should kill the bad ones, not the good ones. And the good ones are sometimes very expensive. I paid at least 50 cents for one bumblebee. So I don't want him to kill my bumblebees.
The system is the brainchild of a group of former students from the Technical University in Delft who thought up the idea after wondering if they might be able to use drones to kill mosquitoes buzzing around their rooms at night.
This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. Assigned by His Majesty the Sultan, His Excellency the Minister of State and Governor of Muscat preside over the final match of His Majesty's Cup Football Championship 2020-2021. The Minister of Health affirms that new batches of COVID-19 vaccines will arrive in the Sultanate by the mid of this month. And 8 deaths and over 1,059 new confirmed cases of COVID-19 are registered in the Sultanate during the last 3 days. And with that, we do conclude this news bulletin brought to you live from this news center of the Sultanate of Oman television. If you haven't taken your vaccine and you are eligible to take it, please go ahead and take. Stay safe and healthy. And as we can see there, the match is still going on. It's 37 minutes and 11 seconds. Of course, Dhafar has scored 1 goal. We wish all the best for each and every one. Good night.